Hello, Animation Fanatic here. I just got finished watching the most recent episode of Total Drama All-Stars. Total Drama All-Stars Episode 7, Suckers Punched. Yeah, that's funny. But anyway, this was a pretty good episode. I don't think it was quite as funny as previous ones, but it was very entertaining, and it had a lot going for it. And yeah, overall I enjoyed it. Although as far as humor and comedy goes, it wasn't the funniest one. So let me do a basic rundown of this episode. It starts out with the teams in their respective areas, heroes in their place, villains in their place. Also, I should mention that Sierra has adopted the weird little rat creature from the previous episode, and is calling it Cody Jr. Charming. Anyway, the episode also starts out with Chef, who I'd complained hadn't said anything in the previous episode, actually speaking and doing quite a bit this one. He gets Mal, or Mike, or whatever, off of Boney Island and gets hurt in the process. Mike talks to Mal and says that he thought he repressed him, but Mal just said he was laying low. By the way, Mike is still trapped in the subconscious of himself. They bring up an interesting issue about this, though, although I wonder how seriously you can really address it, considering this is a comedy. But anyway, the whole challenge is sort of based on the Fear Factor challenge in the first season. Basically, there's a whole wheel full of fears, and everyone has to fight them. Now, it's supposed to be completely random, but Chef and Chris have rigged it so that people actually fight their fears, more than just something random. The only person who actually does fight anything at random is Mike, who ends up fighting Spider Izzy. I'll get to that in a second. Anyway, I forgot to mention, in the previous episode, the heroes get a special benefit for winning. Zoe, especially for doing so well, she doesn't have to fight, and the heroes get a starting point. Well, that won't help them exactly. By the way, Gwen and Courtney are kind of back with each other. They're friends. That'll be brought up in this episode, but only for very briefly. Anyway, they start out fighting. Scott gets matched with Fang. Let me think. Alejandro gets matched with his brother, who he complained about in a previous season and also at the beginning of this episode. He actually manages to win and does quite well. Sierra gets matched with the mother of her strange mutant rat creature, which is kind of funny. Mike gets matched, like I said, with Izzy dressed in her spider costume. It's really cool to see her back again because since Ezekiel's cameo in the first episode, we haven't seen any returning cameos. I just hope someone from the most recent season also makes a cameo in this series. But yeah, we'll have to wait for that. Anyway, it kind of goes back and forth with each team successful and failing until Gwen and Courtney are matched up. Chris shows a bunch of made-to-make Courtney angry videos to get her to fight Gwen, and they start fighting, but eventually they make up. And through the power of love, they're able to earn the extra points. Now, here's what comes to the really big twist. Not twist so much. Okay. Vultures win, hamsters lose. Chris decides that not only are the teams not merging, despite the gradual disintegration, but he also decides that the Vultures will pick who goes home, and the heroes will pick who goes to Boney Island. Apparently, they're still sending people to Boney Island in spite of the fact that the invincibility statue's been found. Now, it's possible there's more invincibility statues, and I guess you can't use them more than once. That rule's never actually stated, I don't think, which is a little strange. Anyway, the Vultures send Sierra back. Thankfully, she was kind of funny this episode, but I think she's outlived her usefulness for this season. It's good to send her back. And the hamsters decide to send Alejandro onto Boney Island. Bit gutsy, all things considered. If he does find another invincibility item, he could be protected for a long time. Anyway, overall, this episode was enjoyable. It was a lot of fun. It wasn't funny per se, but it was fun to watch. It had good revelations, interesting character introspectives, and yeah, it was just generally entertaining. I liked what Duncan said, actually, and they really milk the whole "he's a good guy now" thing here. That joke's starting to get old. Since they've been, it was kind of funny in the previous episode. Now it's just starting to get old. Except when Chris makes fun of him, that's funny. He pointed out that who is the real Mike is a good question. Is it Mal, or is it Mike, or is it one of his other personalities? It's hard to determine which is the real person in there, and I think this will be a point of contention and plot in future episodes. So, like I said, overall, entertaining episode.